An eldritch abomination, to its dismay, changed into an ordinary housecat upon entering our dimension and was subsequently adopted by a young girl. It took a few months for it to regain its true form, but instead of being horrified, the girl loved it even more. The void between dimensions tore like wet paper, and I fell through. Billions of years of existence hadn't prepared me for the sensation of being compressed, twisted, and reformed into something so small, so disgustingly ordinary. Where once I had possessed countless tentacles and eyes that could perceive the death of stars, I now found myself trapped in the form of a common housecat. The first thing I noticed was the overwhelming sensory limitation. Gone were my abilities to taste cosmic radiation and feel the pulse of distant galaxies. Instead, I had whiskers. The indignity of it burned worse than the time I'd bathed in the plasma of a dying sun. I found myself in what humans call an alley, surrounded by waste receptacles and the stench of decay. At least that felt somewhat familiar. My attempts to reshape reality or even communicate with the lesser beings that occasionally passed by proved futile. My vast knowledge and power remained, but this vessel couldn't channel them. That's how Arya found me, 3 days later, soaked from rain and hissing at my own reflection in a puddle. I was still trying to comprehend how my magnificent form had been reduced to this furry prison. "Here, kitty," she called softly, crouching down with an offering of food in her small hand. "It's okay, I won't hurt you." The absurdity of a mortal child promising not to harm an ancient cosmic entity almost made me laugh, though it came out as a strange meow. I considered ignoring her, but the body I inhabited had needs I couldn't deny. The food smelled appealing in a way that made me question my own sanity. Arya turned out to be different from other humans I'd observed across the millennia. She lived alone with her mother in a small apartment, spending most of her time reading or drawing elaborate pictures of creatures that, ironically, resembled my true form. She named me Void, which I found amusing given the circumstances. "Mom says you're the weirdest cat she's ever seen," Arya would tell me as she did her homework. "You never sleep, and you just sit there staring at the walls for hours. But I think you're perfect." I began to notice the changes about 2 months after my arrival. It started small, the ability to see through walls, to hear thoughts like whispers in the wind. The family's pet goldfish died one morning when I accidentally gazed at it too long with my slowly awakening power. Arya's mother grew increasingly uneasy around me, though she couldn't articulate why. "There's something not right about that cat," I heard her tell a friend on the phone. "The way it watches us. Sometimes I swear its shadow moves wrong." But Arya only grew more attached. She would confide in me about the bullies at school, about missing her father who had abandoned them, about feeling different from everyone else. I found myself wanting to protect her, to destroy those who caused her pain. It was an alien sensation for a being who had previously viewed humans as mere specks in the cosmic dust. The final transformation began during a thunderstorm. I felt my true power surging back, my form beginning to shift and expand. Arya was reading in bed when it happened, and I could have fled, could have finally escaped this domestic charade. Instead, I stayed, letting her witness my metamorphosis. The room grew dark as my body expanded, tentacles unfurling like blooming flowers of nightmare. My countless eyes opened one by one, each revealing a different reality, a different possible death. The walls seemed to bend around my true form as reality struggled to contain my essence. Arya lowered her book slowly, her eyes wide but not afraid. She reached out one small hand toward a tentacle that had unconsciously moved to shield her from falling books. "I knew you were special," she whispered, face illuminated by the ethereal glow of my true form. "All this time, you were protecting me, weren't you?" I could have shown her visions that would shatter her sanity, could have revealed truths about the universe that no human mind was meant to comprehend. Instead, I gently wrapped a tentacle around her shoulders in what humans would call a hug. "You're beautiful," she said, running her fingers along my crystalline scales. "Can you still purr?" The sound that emerged was like distant galaxies colliding, but she smiled as if it was the most natural thing in the world. I realized then that I had found something I never knew I was seeking across the vast expanse of space and time: acceptance, understanding, love without conditions. Arya's mother found us like that, her daughter nestled against what most humans would describe as a living nightmare. She screamed, of course, and fainted. When she came to, Arya spent hours convincing her that I was still the same cat, just different. It took time, but humans are remarkably adaptable when given the chance. Now I spend my days shifting between forms as needed, a housecat for visits to the veterinarian and indignity I endure for Arya's sake, and my true form within our home. Arya's mother has grown accustomed to finding tentacles doing the dishes or helping with laundry. The neighbors never notice anything amiss, their minds simply refusing to process what they see through the windows. Arya's drawings have become more accurate, though she can never quite capture all my dimensions on paper. She no longer feels alone or different, not with an eldritch horror helping her with math homework and keeping the monsters under her bed in check. They're terrified of me, naturally. Sometimes, in the quiet moments when Arya sleeps, I wonder if this was why I was drawn to this dimension, not to conquer or destroy, but to find something I never knew existed in all the cosmic horror of space and time: a home.